Hey, it's Yolanda Shoshana, and this is Sparkling Wine and Sex Magic. And I'm so sorry I'm a few minutes late. I'm having, if you hear that, I'm having technical difficulties with my camera. So I turned my camera off because it just isn't working. There's something really weird and funky going on with the Hangout. And I'm not sure why. I know that now Hangouts is now in beta, so I know that Google is changing it a bit. So next time I'll be on camera. So sorry for this. It's not letting my webcam, my good webcam work. It's using the grainy one, and it looks really kind of shitty. So I'm just going to do audio today. How are you? So thank you so much for being here. I was going to do this last weekend, but I wasn't feeling well. I had these awful cramps, and every time the season changes, my energy gets really, really wacky, and all I want to do is sleep, and I'm a little loopy. And I thought I would try to power through it last week, but I figured, and I looked like I was drunk. I felt like I was drunk, even though I hadn't been drinking. So here I am. But the good side of that is I actually finally watched 50 Shades of Grey. So, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that later in the broadcast. So, I've been wanting to do this type of a hangout for a while, just haven't had time, and I realize Sunday's a good day for it because I'm normally home. I love to be home on Sundays and chill, and I'm kind of really glad that I'm doing this today because the Giants are getting beat like they stole something. So I'm glad to be here, and I think, unfortunately, too, some people are going to miss this because I believe this is in the first link that I created. I'm not sure. This is just a whole little real technical challenge today, but I will work it all out. So, sex magic. Sex magic is really about rituals and conjuring and really sacred sex, which is something that I love to talk about, and I know a lot of people have questions about it, so I thought I'd talk about things like that and about sex news that's happening around the world, and of course, have some sparkling wine. And today I am drinking a really great sparkling wine. It's a Cremant, and it's absolutely delicious, and I will post a photo of this. I'm so sorry I can't show you. You know, the one thing I love about Hangouts is you never know what's going to happen. But hopefully the changes in Hangout will, be over soon. And I actually really love the platform. I would prefer to do this on here versus like Periscope or some of the others because it goes right to YouTube, and I know that people can find it later if they're looking and pop the video up. And then, of course, on Periscope, you have to remember to record the thing. So, yeah, so I know a lot of you have sex questions and are having bad sex, unfortunately, and I would love for that to change. I always tell people that you shouldn't give up on having really good sex. There's no reason for you to. You can continue to have good sex. A lot of times it's about, communication with your partner, and also, of course, loving yourself. The more you love yourself, the more confident you are in the boudoir, and the more fun that you can have and more fun that you can give to your partner. And that's what this will really be about. And there's some wacky sex stuff going on in the world, and I definitely want to be talking about that. And like I said, I want to talk to you about this whole 50 Shades of Grey because I actually didn't hate the movie like I thought I would, which shocks me a little bit. Still haven't read the books, which I might get to. I'm not so sure. Everyone tells me to stay away, but I really didn't dislike the movie. So we'll talk about S&M a little bit later. So the first news I want to talk to you about is today I read that Star Wars XXX, that is a porn movie, as in Star Wars with 3 X's at the end, is doing quite well these days. The movie is not new. It's a porno. It's not new, but because of the new Star Wars movie, everyone is flocking to watch this porno. I will find that link for you. Since I read it this morning, I didn't have time to find the link, but I will find the link, and I will definitely either tweet it out. Actually, I'll tweet it out, and I'll put it on my Google page because I'm curious. I think I actually saw this movie, though. If I'm remembering correctly, it's like Princess Leia having sex with like a bunch of like maybe even Luke and Han Solo. And I want to say Chewbacca, which I hope that's not true. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I remember watching this. So the sales are up 500%, which don't shock me. So look for Star Wars XXX if that's something that you're into. I always tell people that they should watch porn. I'm a big believer in porn, but not necessarily the porn that's degrading, because I think that it can make you creative. It can remind you of certain positions you might like. It might also give you a little bit of inspiration. So, look to porn every once in a while. You learn some good tricks. So I thought that was interesting. And then what I really wanted to talk to you about was the 91-year-old woman who had kinky sex and died. She had sex with her neighbor. Her neighbor was 49 years old. And first of all, I say, you go, girl. I say still get it in no matter how old you are. This woman lived in Portugal, mind you. And her neighbor was 49 years old, and he was a married man with 2 kids. I believe that he was suffocating her. It was like a game. They were playing a game, and she unfortunately died. And they're ruling it a tragic accident. They're not necessarily going to put any charges on him, which I guess is good. It's S&M gone bad, and I guess when you're a little bit older, maybe suffocation is not the best way for you to go. But first of all, to the ladies out there who think you can't find a man, I say apparently we all can find someone, because if this 90-year-old woman is finding herself some ready, willing, and able 49-year-old, I say high five. But this is also, I would say, a caution to those who are, doing S&M, and how you have to be careful, and how you have to have safe words, and how you have to practice safety, because it's very important to practice safety when you're doing S&M, and I think that's what gets lost a lot of times in the media, where we see people have died from being suffocated or really kinky play. It's because the safety wasn't there, and they possibly didn't know their partner well enough. So it really is about communication when you're doing things like suffocation and being tied up and all that stuff. So, but yeah, she was 91 and getting it in, and everybody, people were flabbergasted that she was 91 and still having sex. And I say, well, why not? If you can, then you do. They say she was a very active woman, and clearly so. She's picking up 49-year-olds. I wonder what his wife has to say about this, though. I wonder if he'll end up getting a divorce. So then I found this other fact interesting. This is coming from Switzerland. People in Switzerland are having more sex with horses. Yeah. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that says bestiality, yuck, oh my God, and I'm not judging, I'm reporting. So, but bestiality is a thing, and there are plenty of people participating, and I know that the numbers in bestiality are up. So somebody is screwing, cats, dogs, pigs, and horses, and all that good stuff. So, my question is how do people know that all of this abuse is going on? So there's abuse to the horses in Switzerland, and they say that 10% of the abuse comes from people having sex with horses. Now, I'm not judging. I just really want to know more. Like, who's reporting this? Is it people feeling guilty and reporting themselves? I highly doubt that. Is it, possible partners walking into the barn? I'm assuming there's a barn. And finding their partner, I don't know, giving a blowjob or, screwing a horse. Like, I really would like to know more about how this stuff is getting reported and who's finding out. I mean, because if it's me, I wouldn't be going around telling everybody that I was fucking a horse. I mean, unless I was in, like, Horse Fucking Anonymous or something. Is that a group? I don't know. Like, I just find it to be fascinating that this information is out and they know that it's 10% of people having sex with these horses. And if anybody has more information on this, please let me know, because I am curious. Isn't Switzerland where Tina Turner lives? I know that at one point in Switzerland there were more singles than any other place, and I'm wondering if these singles are participating in all this horse stuff. I don't know. Which now takes me back though to, so let's talk about this BDSM that I really, so it's been on my mind because like I said, I actually finally gave in and I watched 50 Shades last weekend when I was laying in bed. I was like, ugh, finally, I rolled my eyes at it enough. It's on HBO for those of you who have not seen it. You know, it's starring that Jamie Dornan, I think that's his name, and oh, what's her name? Something Johnson, the daughter of Melanie Griffith and John Johnson, she's not that interesting, which is so interesting to me that she's not that interesting. So it stars the two of them. So I didn't hate the movie. I didn't love it, but I found myself getting a little bit aroused doing it, actually, though it was very mild. What aroused me was actually the fact that, you know, I was thinking, oh, I need myself a billionaire who wants to come and tie me up, is probably where I was thinking. And that's the part that I enjoyed. And I love that there's a movie that touches on it. But, you know, 9.5 Weeks is still far more racy than that 50 Shades of Grey movie. And even that, what's the other movie that Mickey Rourke was in? The Black Orchid, or whatever, the Orchid movie he made, kind of similar to 50 Shades. I think the same director, if I'm not mistaken. That's even more racy. So there's been racier movies than this. It was pretty mild, and I've heard it's milder than the books. Now, I do have the books. I have the trilogy. I happened to get the trilogy when I was at a clothing swap. Somebody brought all 3 books, and I literally just tried to take one, but nobody wanted them, so I think I will start to read them. So the movie it's fine, and they're going to make 2 more. Will I see the other 2? Not necessarily. But I would say that if you are trying to get your partner interested in a little bit of, you know, 50 Shades kind of activity, or if you are interested in BDSM and want to raise the conversation, 50 Shades is a good idea to watch together. Though I actually would recommend 9.5 Weeks over 50 Shades if you really want to do some BDSM. But 50 Shades it's fine. It's an okay movie. It is not really what the whole BDSM community is about, and I'm sure you've heard that the BDSM community does not love the book nor love the movie, and there's reasons why. I mean, she never signs the contract, which is huge in the BDSM community. She actually talks about the contract. They didn't even talk about the contract so much in the movie to me, which I hear is very present in the book. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. So I do recommend it, but it is not a wonderful portrayal of the community. But if you are looking for books that are very BDSM forward, unfortunately, like I said, so my camera is acting up today, but I have 2 books I want to recommend to you, and I'll make sure I post these as well because I wanted to show you the covers. But one of them is called The Big Book of Submission, and it's 69 Kinky Tales, and it's edited by one of my favorite people and one of my favorite BDSM kind of erotica writers, Rachel Kramer Bussell. She's one of my favorite folks. But The Big Book of Submission, and you get like a lot of stories for, you know, this book, and it will really get you into S&M, more of course on the submission route, but really great creative stories by some of the top S&M writers. And then if you really want something that is going to be 50 Shades like, I recommend Reflected in You. It's a crossfire novel by a writer, Sylvia Day. Now, this makes 50 Shades looks like preschool. So Sylvia Day, now here's my story about Sylvia Day. I did not know who the hell this woman was until I went to a book expo, the Book Expo of America, and everybody was talking about her, and I'm like, who the hell is she? Why should I care? But every woman there seemed to know who this woman was. She is an erotica romance writer, and she's like one of the top romance writers. She's been on the New York Times seller best list and all that. But she writes erotica that's very beautiful, it's fluid, it will really give you a good look at what BDSM should be about. So it's reflected in you, and it is a crossfire novel. I believe she has more of these crossfire novels out. I have not finished this whole book, but I actually got through half of it. I just didn't have time to finish. I couldn't get through the first couple pages of 50 Shades. So if you really want, you know, more BDSM, there's that. And then there's a book that I'm actually in, and it's about baseball, though. So if you like sports and erotica and BDSM, it's called Bases Loaded. You can find that on Amazon and other places. So that has some BDSM. My story is definitely very, very kinky. So if you want to get your kink on, those are some places that you can really, you know, delve more into it and get more information, because I'd say 50 Shades is a good jumping off point. And there's an article on my blog, brewhouseblog.com, that you can find, and it's under the sex magic category. And it's called The Art of Pleasure and Pain, and it's S&M. But it is kind of like it's a beginner's article on S&M and why you should even think about and consider having it in your bedroom. Couples that participate in S&M actually are stronger couples, and they're closer. And it's due to the fact that you have to have trust when you're doing, you know, BDSM. You don't just want anybody to tie you up. Which is why, you know, back to the story about the 91-year-old woman who is practicing in play with her neighbor. They probably hadn't played together that often. Like, you really have got to be careful. He probably applied too much pressure to her. It's just certain things you have to be cautious of when you are playing with somebody, especially somebody you don't know. So, but if you have a partner that you trust, it can take BDSM to a whole other level. And BDSM does not have to be crazy, wild, and kinky. It can just be a spanking. It can be, you know, a little tap on the butt, a little tap on, you know, your breast, a little tap or a little something, something. It can be a lock and key, like he holds the lock or she holds the lock and he has the key, whatever. However you want to do it, whatever makes you happy. There are lots of ways that you can do BDSM and be safe, and there are lots of ways that you can do your contract. It's all up to you. That's the great thing about it. So, you know, the 50 Shades can be a jumping off point, and then these other books can be a jumping off point, especially this, the big book of submission, because it can give you ideas. The more you read when it comes to S&M, the more ideas you can have, and the more you can think about what would work for you and what you like and what you're into, which is why I think I actually liked the movie more than I thought. Like, who wouldn't? At least I wouldn't mind some billionaire coming along who has a playroom, who wants to fly me places and do good things for me. I wouldn't mind that at all. You know what I'm saying? You know, just the kinky girl in me. What can I say? So yeah. So those were my news highlights and what I really wanted to talk to you about. And I am so sorry my camera is not working. It was working, and then something wacky happened on my computer. I haven't used a Hangout in a while, but I'm going to give it another go next time I do this. And if that acts kind of up, I will switch to Periscope, or I don't know. There's so many other platforms now. I can't even keep up. There's this new one, Blab. I might try that out. So, but like I said, I love having this on here because it just goes to the YouTube. And I really wanted to talk to you more about this cremant that I have. It's so delicious. But like I said, I will post a photo of this sparkling wine on my Instagram. It's so good. The reason why I picked sparkling wine for this whole sex magic video is because of the fact that sparkling wine is very sexy and it's very sensual, and the bubbles do something, and they kind of get you going, and they're flirty, and that's what sex magic is kind of all about, besides the sacred aspects of it. And we'll get more into that, and we'll talk more about, you know, foreplay and more sex news, because there's so much sex news that's going on, and I love it. If you find something quirky and delicious when it comes to sex news, please send it to me, because I am always on the lookout for the different stuff, like the 90-year-old woman, or people having sex with horses, and and all that good stuff. And you know, celebrities, like they say Tim Tebow got dumped because he wouldn't have sex with his girlfriend, and then she said that wasn't the reason. You know, she can say that all she wants, but that's probably a little bit of the reason. You know what I mean? Like, you know, she probably thought she'd be the one to, like, break him down. Like, I'm sure every woman's thinking that. Like, I'm going to get Tim to have sex with me. So, I mean, she's hot. I don't blame her. I think her name is Olivia something. I think she's an actress, model, you know, one of those. I'm sure she thought she'd be the one to break him in, but it looks like his faith to God is a little more strong. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, and I will see you next time. And next time, I'm going to talk to you about this new vibrator I just got. It's by the Fun Factory. It's their new vibrator, and let me tell you, I can't wait to try it. It's got, between the pulsar and the thruster, it's got 65 different choices to kind of get off. And I didn't want to just kind of jump into it half-assed, because, you know, I didn't want to start something I couldn't finish. Let's just say that. But by next weekend, I will have tried a little bit more. So I will bring that to you and show you. It's such a beautiful, beautiful kind of mechanism, and it just came out. So, you know, if you're looking for something, by the time I talk to you again, it'll be past Christmas. But, you know, sexy things are great to give for holiday gifts as well as for the new year. Maybe you need to get yourself something a little sexy as well. I actually have, if you go to my blog, brujausblog.com, and you want to go under Courtesan Moderne, which is modern courtesan in French, I have on there the Sex Magic gift guide if you're looking for something sexy to give to someone or yourself. Because, you know, Christmas will be over, but Valentine's Day is right around the corner, even if it means you're giving something sexy to yourself. Just because you're single does not mean you can't have good sex, or just because you're in a relationship where you haven't had good sex in a while does not mean you can't start that shit right on off. Sometimes it takes you, I'm especially talking to the women, you know, we are the leaders in the boudoir, so sometimes it just takes us to lead. I will say this about men, for those of you who are in heterosexual relationships. Men love to be led. So, you know, if they're doing it wrong, let them know. And more than likely, if your guy is really into you and he loves you, he will be happy to get you off. And I'm sure that goes for even if you're in a relationship with a woman, or if you're in a relationship with another, if you're a man in a relationship with another man, if your partner is really into you, they want to get you off. So it's about that communication, and you know, we got to keep that going, and you can't give up on the good sex. All right, so thank you so much, and until next time, may you have lots of sparkling wine and sex magic. Yeah, peace out.